All right, so the source material you brought for this deep dive, it kicks off with something really heavy.
It really does. There's this philosophical assertion right at the start.
Yeah, that we're all vulnerable people.
Yeah.
And not vulnerable, like, to getting hurt, but to ourselves.
Exactly. That we're all just one emotional action away from doing something terrible
Or ending up in prison.
Yeah. But then it flips that idea on its head. It says we're also one action away from, transforming the world for the better.
And the source for this isn't some academic paper. It's a first-person story.
A first-person narrative, yeah. From a transatlantic flight 8 years ago that turned into an absolute nightmare.
Which is, I have to say, my literal worst fear. So you have to set the scene for us.
Yeah.
This all starts because the narrator is watching someone, right?
Right. It all hinges on this one judgment. The narrator's focus is on the emergency exit row.
Okay.
And they're watching a man sitting there who just seems off. He's described as aloof, but with a bizarre comfort in his eyes.
Bizarre comfort. What does that even look like?
Well, his actions were strange. He was, holding a crossword puzzle.
Okay.
But he wasn't writing anything, just staring at the floor, gripping his pencil so tight his knuckles were white. And then when the food cart came by, he completely blanked the flight attendants.
Blanked them. Didn't even acknowledge them.
Not at all. As if they were invisible.
Okay, if I'm on that crew, that's a huge red flag.
Right.
The person in the exit row needs to be, responsive.
Precisely. And the crew felt those alarm bells ringing. So they did something really clever.
What's that?
The captain made an announcement, a kind of subtle test. He said if anyone in the exit row was uncomfortable with the responsibility, they could get a free upgrade to first class.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
That flushes out the people who just want the extra leg room.
And it worked.
Yeah.
The other passengers jumped at the chance. But this guy
He didn't move.
didn't even flinch. The narrator calls him disjointed. He just stayed put.
And so the narrator is sitting there just judging him this whole time, building a whole story about him.
The story of superiority, yeah. That this man was a liability, that he lacked human connection. The narrator's thinking, I'm the one who's capable here. I get it.
They're the protagonists of the movie in your head.
Yeah.
And then reality hits.
Hard. The plane just nosedives straight down towards the ocean.
Okay, this is the part. The plane is crashing. What does our capable narrator do?
They freeze.
Nothing.
Completely frozen.
Yeah.
A deer in headlights is how they put it. And they blame this on what they call the demon of judgment.
Well, unpack that. The demon of judgment. How does judging someone make you freeze?
Because judging requires you to be detached, to be an observer. You're analyzing the world, not living in it. So when the crisis hit, that analytical part of the brain just took over.
It overrode the survival instinct.
Exactly. They were so busy thinking about what was happening, they couldn't act.
That's horrifying. So the thing that made them feel smart was actually a trap. What about the guy? The disjointed guy?
The angel of action. The second things went wrong, he snapped into motion. Rapid fire precision, the source says. He wasn't ignoring everyone because he was weird. He was in a state of hyper readiness.
He was just waiting.
Waiting for the cue. He immediately starts helping people, clearing the exit, doing everything that needed to be done. And then there's this one moment where he looks at the narrator who's still frozen solid, and he smiles. The narrator sees that bizarre glimmer again and has this terrible realization.
He's the angel, I'm the demon.
Yes, and that's what saved their life. One side of the plane was apparently destroyed on impact. The narrator only survived because they finally moved. They leaped across the aisle into the arms of the man they had judged.
Leaping from judgment to action. I mean, what an image. But the story doesn't end on that heroic note. It gets strange.
It gets very unsettling. The narrator reflects on it later and says they survived only to find a new hole to feed on.
Yeah, that line. What are we supposed to do with that?
It suggests the experience didn't just teach them a lesson. It fundamentally broke something. It implies they now realize their own survival depends on the action of others.
So they're not the hero anymore. They're a parasite.
Or at least a witness who needs a host to survive. It turns this whole thing from an inspiring story into, like you said, something much darker, a psychological horror.
It just makes you wonder about the person you think you are versus the person you actually are under pressure.
Right. Is your mind a tool for survival, or is it a cage?
So here's the question we'll leave you with. If your plane started nosediving today, would you be the one analyzing the person next to you? Or would you be the one waiting, pencil in hand, for the cue to do something that matters?